And we should be live now, hopefully. If all that went through, I managed to get through to that. Let's see if anybody joins us. If I'm looking over here, it's because I'm going to have all your comments coming up. So this is mainly because of the Oscars, but feel free to chat about anything else. And also, if you want to leave comments in Italian, that's absolutely fine. Se volete lasciare un commento in italiano va benissimo. I'm going to try to answer, I'm going to try to speak mostly in English because that's the language most of you speak, but no problem if you'd like to leave a question in Italian, I'll answer in Italian, translated then in English, it's no problem at all. And as I was saying, it will be mostly about the Oscars, but then again, if you want to chat about anything else, that's absolutely fine. Let's see if anybody joins us. So in the meanwhile, I wanted to do this because I hardly ever do any live streams. We've done a few when we were out and about, but never about a specific topic. And then if you guys enjoy this, we can get a better setup because as you can tell, everything has been a bit rough here. Getting everything set up and having it live stream without the proper equipment, as you know, is pretty hard. But mostly because of the Oscars. Just last night, everything that went down. As we all film lovers over here, it's like the biggest moment of the year. And it was such a big surprise because of everything that happened. I have my list actually here of all the awards. Somebody joining us. Hi Debbie, greeting from San Juan, Puerto Rico. Birthplace of Joaquin Phoenix. Hi. I'm glad you joined us all the way from Puerto Rico. Joaquin Phoenix. I think that was the one award last night that everybody was kind of expecting. That and probably Renee Zellweger for Judy. And yes. And obviously some of the most unexpected ones was basically just Parasite winning everything. That was the most unexpected thing of all, I guess. I guess we were all imagining at least, you know, director or you know, best film, but not best film, best director, best foreign film, yes, best original screenplay. I was kind of expected that for adapted screenplay, Jojo Rabbit would have gone through. I was expecting that, but in the end, it didn't go through. Buonasera Debbie, un saluto da Roma, sei bravissima, un abbraccio. Ciao Alberto, grazie mille. Traduco velocemente i commenti in italiano perché non tutti lo parlano, anche se è abbastanza semplice. So Alberto is saying hi from Roma, capital of Italy. Saying happy evening, Debbie. Have a good happy evening. What was that? Have a great evening, Debbie. Grazie, grazie. Thank you so much. So let me know if you guys have been watching the Oscars, what you think about all of that, se avete guardato gli Oscar, cosa ne pensate. For us in Italy, it's kind of hard. If you don't know, I live in Italy, that's why some people will be commenting in Italian. And for us, it's kind of hard to watch everything live because the ceremony starts around, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning here and ends around like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. So we can't really watch it live, and also it's not as a big thing on TV as it might be over in the States. So we have to like stay up online watching it throughout the night. So. Ciao, come stai? Spero che tutto sia bene. Ciao, tutto benissimo. Hai guardato gli Oscar? So Aswan is asking how I am in Italian. How's everything? Also was very happy with most of the winners. I was too. The only one, you guys might know this if you've been following me for a while, Brad Pitt. I have I've had a bit of a rough relationship, not with Brad Pitt, but with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I don't really understand what all the hype was about it. And after I know a lot of people expected Brad Pitt to win, and in the in the back of my mind, I knew he was going to win, but until the end, I was hoping it wasn't. And I thought I was one of the few people that didn't really want him to win. But after him winning, I read so many comments from people who also disagreed with his nomination, who also disagreed with him winning. I think a lot of people could have been at least nominated, could have been nominated instead of him. Sam Rockwell for Richard Jewell or Jojo Rabbit. You know how I love all of Sam Rockwell's work and how incredible he was in these two films. And then Willem Dafoe for The Lighthouse. I don't know why he wasn't nominated. But then to actually have Brad Pitt winning, I don't know. If you have any thoughts about this, I know a lot of you loved Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I've had a lot of discussions about it. So if you guys have any thoughts. Yeah, agreed, Pitt was great, but nowhere near as amazing as Hanks was. It was more a pity win, if anything. I don't know if it was a pity win, but it kind of felt like when Leonardo DiCaprio won for The Revenant. That film's fantastic, but DiCaprio didn't really deserve an Oscar there. It would have been better for. I would have preferred if Tom Hardy had won it as Best Supporting Actor. But that year there was this huge pressure around Leonardo DiCaprio winning. Everybody was saying how, it was when the Leonardo DiCaprio winning an Oscar memes came out. Everybody was just talking about DiCaprio winning an Oscar. And in the end, he won it. And we kind of all knew he was going to win it anyway. And it was a bit like there was this pressure into making him win. Whereas he would have won it for other things. Django Unchained, he was fantastic there. That kind of felt a little bit like the situation with Brad Pitt here. Never winning an Oscar, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, who were the other? I'm kind of getting all confused now after reading up about it. By the way, there are some more comments. Hi Debbie, I can use Italian, English, and Sardinian. That's because I'm from Sardinia, but my Sardinian is absolutely terrible. I mean, I can't even understand it. I can just speak a few words, so it's better if we stick to English or Italian. What do you think about the nomination of Sandler into the Independent Spirit Awards? I was actually surprised that Sandler wasn't nominated at the Oscars for Uncut Gems. So basically, Uncut Gems, I only saw it. I saw it months after its release, so after ages of it being pushed on. Oh, thank you so much, Manuel. Oh, that's so kind of you. Thank you so much, Manuel, all the way from Puerto Rico. Birthplace of Joaquin Phoenix. That's so kind of you. But yeah, so for Adam Sandler, Uncut Gems. And by the way, I'm probably going to do some epic fails throughout this stream, saying wrong names with wrong films and that kind of stuff. Just please bear with me if I do any of that. As I said, the setup will be better in the future. It won't all be rigged up like this with me clicking behind to get it started. Adam Sandler, Uncut Gems. So Uncut Gems, I didn't watch it immediately, but Twitter mainly, but all social media was sort of pushing it into my face. They were saying, Uncut Gems is the best film of the year. It's the best. You've got to watch it. And I watched it, and it was great. It's a great film. Adam Sandler was absolutely incredible in it. And the hype around it was so big that I kind of expected it to end up at the Oscars. I mean, I can understand if I love The Lighthouse, but I can kind of get why it wasn't nominated for so many awards. But Uncut Gems kind of looked like the perfect thing for the Oscars, if that makes any sense. I personally disagree with you on Leo. Leo was freaking phenomenal in the Revenant. I know a lot of people did like him. I don't know. I kind of think I was looking more at Tom Hardy. I think his performance just was so amazing that I kind of thought, I don't know, maybe seeing them side by side, seeing Tom Hardy and Leonardo DiCaprio side by side made me realise how good Tom Hardy was and not focus so much on Leonardo DiCaprio, if that makes any sense. But I would have preferred, even if his Oscar is fine, I would have preferred him maybe to have won for things like, Django Unchained. He was great there. I absolutely hated him there. And that's how much I enjoyed that film. If you get to the point of actually hating somebody for how... By the way, special appearance by the other people in the house, in the background. But I would have liked to see him win for other things and not just because of so much pressure surrounding him that year there. Also, Manuel said, "Please see Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl when you can. You loved it. I cried in the end." I think some of you have recommended this over on Instagram, and it once when somebody recommended it, I went to see the trailer, and I'm roughly guessing something like maybe 2016. I don't want to say something really silly. But it was in a time of my life where I kind of watched the trailer and I was like, ugh, I don't know if that's the right thing for me. But then I completely forgot about it. But it keeps on popping up under various recommendations and things. So I'll definitely, now that I'm in a, I don't know, better mindset or whatever, I'll have to give it a look. And then, oh, it was me, lol. Okay. Then it must have been you over on Instagram. Sorry about that. And thank you for the recommendation. And it keeps on popping up, so I will have to look at it. I have to watch it. Jonathan Marshall, hey Debbie, hope you're doing fine today. I am indeed. I am very happy. I woke up happy from the Oscars. I didn't manage to watch the whole ceremony through right until the end. Basically, I kept on waking up because I was saying, over in Italy, the Oscar goes from basically 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning until, I'm roughly guessing because of, before the awards show and after and so on, like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. So you can't really watch it online. You could do it, but say if you have to go to work or anything next morning, it's kind of hard. So what most of us do is just follow it, online from our phones and so on. So what I did, I was in bed and I would keep on, waking up at regular intervals just to check he was doing. And when I the last time I checked, everything had come up. So there was like Parasite. And if you remember, if you've seen my Oscars prediction video, I was saying, I'd rather Parasite win than other films just for the sake of showing, like, look, something different can actually win. For example, I love The Irishman, but you don't always need an Irishman kind of film, a Scorsese film, an Al Pacino, a Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, that kind of film to win. You don't need that. That's not only the good thing out there. I hope my grammar is all making sense. Let's see if there were any... that's the winner. That's the one winner I'd change aside from ScarJo for Best Actress. Now, the first time I watched, because I watched Jojo Rabbit twice because I loved it so much and I was so pleased they actually won for adapted screenplay. So the first time I went to see Jojo Rabbit, so I saw Jojo Rabbit, then I did my Oscars prediction video, and then I rewatched Jojo Rabbit. So what I said in that video is based on my first viewing of the film. And the first time I saw it, it kind of felt as if the importance of Scarlett Johansson's character, everything surrounding her, kind of depended on the other characters. So she has interactions with these different characters in the film. For example, Sam Rockwell's, who's this very bizarre Nazi who's kind of failing in his line of work, or with her son, with Rebel Wilson's character, who is also hilarious. And it kind of felt as if her character was built around these other ones. Then I rewatched it. So that's why I said in my predictions video, I kind of said, I don't know if I'd totally be, if I'd totally agree with her winning the Oscar. Then I rewatched Jojo Rabbit after that prediction video, and knowing everything that goes on in the film, so you kind of see it with a different perspective, because things happen and you kind of understand them rather on in the film, and then you rewatch them with the knowledge of those events. And I realised how important her character is in the film. It doesn't only depend on the other characters. And this also made me think about how sometimes the mindset in which we're in changes our perspective on a film. For example, Manuel was saying about Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, and I watched the trailer when I was in a sort of weird, like, sad mindset. I'm not sure totally if the film is only going to be completely, totally, like, sad, but it wasn't the kind of thing I was looking to watch in that moment. I might watch that film now and absolutely love it. It's just a different kind of mindset we're in. For example, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I have this kind of rocky relationship with the film. I might watch this in 5 years from now, and I think, wow, now that was a film. So yes, let's see. Il peggio è stato non vedere Adrian agli Oscar. No, seriamente, come miglior attore attrice meritano ancora... Allora, no, seriamente, categoria come miglior attore attrice meritano ancora una categoria oppure ormai si va tanto a sentimenti verso l'attore. Sto cercando di capire il commento, forse è il mio cervello che a quest'ora è un po' addormentato. Cioè, tu intendi che non servirebbe più la categoria di attore-attrice? O perché tanto dici che è il sentimento verso l'attore, ad esempio il discorso di Brad Pitt, che ad esempio è più sentimento verso l'attore, quindi si nomina lui piuttosto che sulla bravura. I was speaking in Italian, I'll just briefly translate the comment. I was trying to understand this comment from Senior Hawks, who is saying, do we still need a Best Actor, Actress category, or are we just basing everything on our feelings towards an actor? And I just wanted to figure out if that was the actual question to then answer. Then, hi Debbie, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. A questo punto che si mette un sondaggio online, il miglior attore siete... So, Senior Hawks is... esatto. So he's confirming if we actually need the Best Actor or Actress category. Allora, secondo me sì, bisogna in quei casi lì distaccarsi un attimo dall'affetto che si ha verso un attore o attrice. Ad esempio, per quanto riguarda il miglior film, non so se sapete questo, ma io sono appassionatissima di Christopher Nolan e 2 anni fa, ormai 3, è uscito 2 o 3 anni fa, è uscito Dunkirk. E prima di andare a vederlo io avevo questa mentalità che ok, è un film di Nolan, sarà la cosa migliore di sempre, dovrà vincere tutto gli Oscar eccetera, e mi sono dovuta fermare e dire forse è meglio vedere tutto con un'ottica un po' più oggettiva. Adesso noi come persone comuni, non che l'Academy sia una divinità eccetera, ma noi come persone comuni ci facciamo prendere un pochettino da chi è il nostro attore preferito, eccetera. Ad esempio, quando Nolan era agli Oscar, nel fondo del mio cuore c'era un pochettino quel desiderio che lui vincesse. Però comunque l'Academy deve vedere, per quanto abbia i suoi difetti a livello di non guardare i film, vari scandali venuti fuori, loro comunque votano con una mentalità completamente diversa. Traduco velocemente in inglese. So I was answering a comment in Italian from somebody saying, do we actually still need an actor or actress category? Because or do we just tend to vote, or do we just tend to give our opinion based on sentiments? I was saying us as just, mere common people, we tend to hope that our favourite actor or actress would win. For example, a few years ago when Dunkirk was released by Christopher Nolan, you all know Christopher Nolan is my favourite director of all time. In the back of my heart, I was kind of hoping he'd win, just for the sake of it being Christopher Nolan winning. But obviously the Academy, with all its flaws, does vote based, with an objective perspective on the films. It's not like us who love a favorite have a favorite character, have a favorite actor, and just want that actor to win. As a matter of fact, a lot of us don't even really watch all the films, so sometimes we don't even know whether one of the other nominated actor or actresses would deserve that award, if that makes any sense. A questo punto che si mette un sondaggio online, il miglior attore si decide tramite quel sondaggio. So you're saying at this point we should put an online poll and decide with the poll. Allora, rispondo in italiano. I'm going to answer in Italian first and then translate to English. A few years ago, again, so I think it was like last year or 2 years ago, there was the Academy proposed this idea of including a most popular category. That wasn't met well, because obviously who wants to have a best popular film? And that's why I'm thinking of when I remember I'm doing a video and I said, right, just do a poll on Instagram, because that's basically, sto rispondendo in inglese, aspetta, e poi ti rispondo in italiano. And that's why I said it's if you want to do a vote for best popular film, just put a survey on Instagram, a poll on Instagram, and you'll find out what's the most popular film. Dicevo in italiano che la tua domanda... capisco, non ti preoccupare, perfetto, la traduco al volo per gli altri, che un paio di anni fa quando era venuto fuori il discorso degli Oscar e volevano includere la categoria miglior film popolare, in un mio video mi era venuta l'idea, alla fine tanto vale mettere un sondaggio su Instagram e si vede qual è il film più popolare. Fortunatamente questa idea poi è passata, diciamo, è stata, come si dice, riposta via. Allora, ti seguo sempre, grazie Debbie delle tue recensioni, grazie mille a te per seguire. Allora, thank you for your reviews, I'm from Palestine, love you. Hi, thank you so much for following. Was you surprised Irishman didn't win any awards? I was, indeed, and I didn't actually realise until hours later because I was so taken aback by everything that was going on. And hours later I was on Twitter and I saw, you know, film Twitter always has like these memes about films, obviously, and in this case about the Oscars, and there was a meme saying about, you know, how Martin Scorsese took home 0 awards, and I went back onto the list and I was like, wow, The Irishman didn't win absolutely anything. And I was really surprised because The Irishman, love it or hate it, it basically fits the Academy Award voters' manual for a good film. You know, Martin Scorsese, you have this huge story of a lifetime. You have Al Pacino, you know, Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro, this drama story. It's perfect under everything. I don't know why it was included for the special effects, because I can see, you know, there's all this de-aging process, but then somebody pointed out how you could actually note. So in The Irishman, the 3 categories, the 3 actors, the 3 characters are de-aged throughout the whole film to show them in different stages of their life. And the first time I watched it, that was fine, and the film was nominated for Best Special Effects. Then somebody commented once under, I think it was one of my videos, saying it kind of looks like a 30, 40-year-old face, you know, put on a 70-plus-year-old body. And I didn't notice that, but when I read that comment, I went back to look at it, and I noticed that. And that's probably why it didn't even win for the special effects, although it was a huge part of the promotion of this film. Allora... ma quanto sei carino, complimenti, grazie mille. Dunkirk was decent, but not Best Picture worthy in my opinion. I think, again, because I'm such a huge Christopher Nolan lover, I think I was taken a bit away. By the way, who was nominated at the time? What was that, like the 90th Academy? I can't even remember. It was probably The Shape of Water. Shape of Water, what was that year? Call Me By Your Name, I think it was that year there. Yeah, Shape of Water, Call Me By Your Name, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. That was a big year. That was a competitive year. So in the back of my heart, I was kind of hoping Dunkirk would win, just because it's Christopher Nolan, I wanted to win. Same thing, why... Probably, I mean, I hope he'll win for Tenet next year, but who knows, because when there's so many other big films out there, it gets hard. And so in the back of my heart, I was hoping he'd win a lot of things, you know, Best Director, but that is a hard list to beat. Glad The Irishman didn't win anything though. Lolly was my least favourite nominee. I'm trying to see who else. Let me just keep my list of nominees under here. I don't know which was my least. Probably Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But I don't know. I didn't mind it. It is long, but I didn't mind it. I tried again to not make myself be carried away by the, oh my god, it's like Al Pacino back with like De Niro and Joe Pesci, and it's like the good old times, and it's a Goodfellas kind of film, or The Godfather. I tried to keep my, you know, keep my eyes on the film for what it actually was. I'm just surprised that in the end it didn't take anything home. Absolutely anything. I mean, I was imagining Best Director or Best Adapted Screenplay or something. It was a very, very odd decision. But I don't think a lot of people were really angry about that. I think people were most like, not angry, but upset. I think most people were upset about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because even that had a bunch of nominations. In the end, it didn't win that much. Was it just Brad Pitt, or maybe some other things like editing, like technical categories? I think people were most upset about that, but I didn't notice that many people upset about The Irishman not winning. Maybe some people about 1917. 1917 also, that didn't win that much. I think up until the last second. That's why Parasite was surprising. The fact that Parasite took so many categories. We knew it was going to win something. We knew it. We knew it was one of the best films of the year. But there was so much hype surrounding 1917 and Sam Mendes. It was surprising that in the end it didn't win any of those big categories. It was curious. Allora, that was it. Glad the Irishman. Do you agree in doing an Oscar to Brad Pitt for his character on Tarantino's film? I was speaking about this earlier in the video, and I didn't particularly enjoy Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'm sorry. I know that in about 5 years from now, I'll rewatch the film and I'll enjoy it in a different way. But setting aside the film, you can love it, you can not enjoy it so much. Brad Pitt's character. So the other nominees were, where are the actors? Best Supporting Actor. So you have Al Pacino and Joe Pesci in The Irishman, who were great. Al Pacino more than Joe Pesci. You have all this display of emotions. Anthony Hopkins in The Two Popes. Tom Hanks. But Brad Pitt in all the film, you don't like it, you love it. What is there about his role that would make him so worthy of actually winning? Because I'm annoyed because obviously Sam Rockwell wasn't nominated, because Willem Dafoe wasn't nominated, but to actually then make Brad Pitt's role, who in my opinion, this is my personal opinion, had a very limited character arc, to then actually bring home the Oscar, it feels more like we have to give it to him. He hasn't won an Oscar yet. He did Ad Astra and didn't win much. Let's do this. I was comparing that to Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant, even though I love Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't think he deserved it for that. So yes, I don't know, maybe I'll rewatch it in 5 years and see it different. And it's not so much, a lot of people, when I said this the first time, I said, I didn't like, there was not much to Brad Pitt's character. A lot of people said, well, you don't really need a character to be huge. And it's true. Think of Anthony Hopkins, but back at the time in like Silence of the Lambs. He was on screen for a while. I think it was a record because he was on screen. He was like the main one of the main characters on screen for a very limited amount of time. But this is one of the most memorable characters of all time. So you don't really need a huge character arc, but at least something that's not just driving around and smiling. I know he's a cryptic character. I know he's mysterious. I don't know. If you have any opinions to give, just let me know. Blade Runner 2049 wasn't even nominated, which was the best film of 2017 in my opinion. Very true. Blade Runner 2049, one of my favourite films of all time. I was at least pleased. I think it was the year that Roger Deakins won, like, for the first time for Best Cinematography after like 14 nominations or something like that. I loved it. I don't really know why it wasn't nominated. Maybe, was it the same year of everything else? Maybe instead of Get Out, that was another film that created a lot of debate when I said, I was like, oh, why was this actually nominated? It's not that particularly good. But yes, I don't know why it wasn't even nominated. It was a fantastic film. Hi everyone, hello, hi to everybody that's joining. I hated The Irishman Screenplay. Glad it went to Jojo instead. Jojo Rabbit. I've been talking about this film from the second I watched it. I absolutely loved it. I don't know why it didn't. So this film came out, and somebody commented on one of my videos saying, "Have you seen Jojo Rabbit yet? I know it's going to be your kind of thing." I was like, no, I've kind of been living under a rock. Like, I haven't even heard about this film or anything. And then it came up a few months later because people were starting to talk about, awards and Golden Globes and everything. So, you know what, I'll just give it a try. And I loved it. If you haven't seen Jojo Rabbit, go watch it. This film is absolutely fantastic. It's a very ironic take on the Nazi regime, on a kid that lives in that regime, and he sees it as this as the ideal thing for himself, because he obviously sees it through the perspective of a child who hasn't been like brainwashed, but you know, the what people used to see back at the time wasn't exactly in Germany, wasn't exactly what was going on. So he has like his imaginary friend is this best friend is this childish version of Hitler, who is played by Taika Waititi, who isn't white and who is half Jewish. So it's absolutely hilarious. Oh my goodness, Manuel. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. Oh, I feel so grateful, guys. Like, thank you so much for supporting me. I'm blushing. Really. Now I'm going to be stuttering all my words and everything now. Thank you so much for the support. Like, this is basically my first proper live stream, and I'm so sorry this has kind of been set up. If you go and rewatch this video, like, if you're like started to watch it now, you've seen it from the beginning, there's me like clicking buttons behind and sort of setting it. Hopefully when things are a bit quiet, I'll have like a proper setup to do live streams, because it's so nice to be able to interact like this, you know, on just topics that come out. So thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Manuel, thank you. Oh, I'm overwhelmed, really. Thank you so much, guys. Manuel Soto, he's all the way from Puerto Rico, which he confirmed is the birthplace of Joaquin Phoenix, and he is supporting me so much on my channel, so thank you. Yeah, I am blushing, that's true. Okay, I'm going to go back in because I think, how you feel, Brad Pitt? You're not alone. I wasn't big on Once Upon a Time either, and I honestly don't think I'll ever be. I know, so when he does have a lot of standout scenes, but he's not better than Hanks. Hanks was a lot more nuanced. Pitt was still the best part of the film. He actually was. Brad Pitt was the best part of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I kind of also enjoyed Margot Robbie's character, but I think it's because I was so hyped to see in her. But yes, Brad Pitt was definitely the highlight of the film. Although I did enjoy the scenes with Leonardo DiCaprio on set. You know, he's struggling with all his career and everything. But yes, I know I'm not the only one that had these feelings about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. For example, when I went to see the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it was I saw it here in Italy, and it was like a late night screening. You know, the first screening you can see like at 10 o'clock in the evening, something like that, of like the evening before it comes out, all those special kind of things. And throughout the whole film, nobody seemed to particularly be enjoying it. Like the cinema was crowded, and you know how you can feel if the crowd is enjoying a film or not. And then the end came, and there was just complete silence, and people slowly started walking out of the cinema, and I could hear people chatting, and none of them were saying, that was such a great film, oh my goodness, I enjoyed it so much. As a matter of fact, this random guy just turned around towards me and my friends and said, what did you make of all of that? Because I didn't make anything of it. So I know I'm not the only one out there, but then if I go on social media, everybody's absolutely raving about it. So I know I don't think there's anybody out there that sort of said, meh, it's a film, you know, which I don't think you can either say about like Parasite or Joker. You can't just say, well, you know, it's a film. But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood really had these polarized reactions. Il protagonista del 1917 è Adam Driver più meritevoli di Phoenix. Allora, Emanuele is saying the main character in 1917 and Adam Driver deserved more than Phoenix. So I'm going to answer quickly in Italian and then I'll say that in English. Allora, il protagonista di 1917 è Sni, nel senso che è un protagonista, indipendentemente dall'attore, che è stato veramente bravissimo, secondo me si è perso tutto quanto un po' nel fatto che quell'attore lì poteva essere benissimo rimpiazzato da qualsiasi altro, se vedi cosa intendo, nel senso che lo sviluppo di quel film è arrivare da un punto all'altro. Quindi che se fosse stato lui o un qualsiasi altro soldato, noi ci saremmo affezionati a quella figura del soldato e quello che attraversa. Però l'attore è stato bravissimo, non ai livelli secondo me di Phoenix. Adam Driver già si avvicina, nel senso che Marriage Story è la cosa che mi ha colpito di più di Marriage Story è che ci ritroviamo a piangere o comunque sentire qualcosa per questi attori di cui 20 minuti prima non sapevamo neanche l'esistenza, cioè ci stiamo preoccupando, oh mio Dio, la loro relazione, si odiano, ma non è vero che si odiano, ma lui sta soffrendo, ma 20 minuti prima non li conoscevamo neanche. Quindi cioè, a volte non proviamo neanche queste cose per nostri conoscenti, che magari ci dicono: "Ah, mi sono lasciata con il fidanzato", cose così. E invece ci troviamo a soffrire per questi personaggi. Quindi lo vedo già su un gradino più alto, però secondo me Phoenix ha fatto un capolavoro. Secondo me non c'è paragone. Lo traduco velocemente in inglese. So I'm going to quickly translate this answer from Emanuele, who was saying that he thinks that the main character in so the actor in 1917 and Adam Driver in Marriage Story were better than Phoenix's performance. So I don't agree with the character in 1917. I love the actor, he did an amazing performance, but I think that film doesn't want to. It's a little like how Dunkirk doesn't focus on the characters. So if that soldier, the story of 1917 is a soldier who has to complete this one big mission. If instead of that soldier there had been another one, I don't think we would have worried much about that. We were just focused on that soldier carrying out a mission. So I don't think it's very close to like a Phoenix level. But instead of the Driver, the thing I was saying I love about Marriage Story is that we don't know these characters. In Marriage Story, it's a story of a divorce, and we don't know these characters. And we found ourselves crying for these characters, or at least getting angry and worrying because they're going through this divorce and the kid, and do they love each other? Do they hate each other? Is it just that love and hate relationship? And we didn't know these characters 20 minutes earlier. We feel more empathy for these characters than we have for just some people we know in our life who, you know, just say, oh, I split up with my boyfriend. We're like, oh, I'm sorry about that. But we're not thinking about it. And I felt, you know, I was feeling more for Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson, who I just, you know, met 20 minutes earlier, you know, got to know 20 minutes earlier. So I think Adam Driver's performance is closer to Phoenix's one, but Phoenix was absolutely unbelievable there. That's just my opinion. Così come attrice non protagonista doveva vincerlo la mamma ricca in Parasite, e il miglior attore non protagonista doveva portare sulla casa sempre il ragazzo di 1917. So Emanuele, lo traduco velocemente in inglese. Emanuele is saying, so I think that as a supporting actress, the rich mum in Parasite should have won, and at the same time as best supporting actor, the guy in 1917. Again, I don't really agree with. Let me just answer in Italian quickly. Non sono del tutto d'accordo con il ragazzo di 1917 per il discorso che dicevo prima, anche perché comunque come attori, come si dice, non supporting, non principali, non mi viene la parola in italiano in questo momento. C'era un sacco di altri nomi molto grandi, difficili da superare. In più, oltre al fatto che non è stato nominato Sam Rockwell, non è stato nominato William Dafoe, sembrava un po' sprecato cioè, penso che tu intendi l'altro soldato che parte con il protagonista in 1917. E invece per la mamma ricca di Parasite vedo cosa intendi, e secondo me almeno forse una nomina ci stava lì. Forse una nomina, però come vittoria non so se sarei proprio d'accordo. Piuttosto avrei detto il papà povero di Parasite, per capirci. Lui sì, come attore, era un ruolo molto interessante. Lo traduco un attimo in inglese. So Emanuele was saying, I'm going to quickly translate between Italian and English. So Emanuele was saying that he would have liked to see as a supporting actress the rich mum in Parasite winning, and the guy in 1917 as best supporting actor. For Parasite, I can see what he means, but I would have loved to see instead I'm going to say like rich mum, and I mean the poor dad. So this is how I'm going to explain it. The poor dad in Parasite was an incredible character. That would have been interesting to see nominated. See again, all these nominations that weren't there. Poor Dad from Parasite, Sam Rockwell, Willem Dafoe. All of these were great, in my opinion, better than Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Instead of a supporting actor for 1917, it's the same thing as I was saying before. There were other great roles. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is like Jackie Brown, a good movie, but I lost all the comments. Where are they? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is like Jackie Brown, a good movie but not a masterpiece. Yes. I mean, I watched it, I don't know, I want to rewatch this. You know what? I should actually rewatch it. Like set myself. I had to rewatch it in a year and do a video speaking about it a year after, and see if it was just me that day there. But then again, a lot of people I've speaking about it have had similar opinions to mine. It only seems to be online that people have been praising it so much. That's why I'm so curious. That I'm wondering, am I missing something? Is there something I'm not seeing? That's why I'm so that's why I enjoy speaking with you guys about it. What's your take on Joaquin Phoenix's speech? I was kind of expecting him to say something about the environment, about veganism, because it's such a huge part of his life. What I wasn't expecting was him to have such a well put together speech, because he sometimes goes up and has these kind of on the moment speeches where he kind of stutters, when he kind of gets a little nervous. I mean, I guess a part of it is of his character, his persona on stage, and a part of it is just of his personality. So when he actually got up and he was like, right, this is my speech, I'm delivering a message, that was kind of impactful. I think he was a little like Leonardo DiCaprio, who used his time for his Oscar, for his award speech, to speak about the environment. I think when that is such an important part of your life in general, you have that one moment in your life in which like basically the whole world is watching you for 5 minutes, and you might want to use that time, instead of saying thank you to my mom for being present, you might want to say, okay, the world's looking at me, I have 5 minutes to convey everything that's most important to me. So I kind of expected it. I expected it to be, though, a little more chaotic. Sometimes he has these sort of like put together the moment speeches. I kind of want Joker win Best Picture or Jojo Rabbit. Until the end, I kind of expected Jojo Rabbit to give a little twist to the Oscars and suddenly win, but I kind of in the end knew it wouldn't. Joker, I think, was the other big competitor to Parasite. Those were the two big ones, along with, again, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Phoenix's speech was very moving, if you know what I mean. I agree, it was. He was determined. That's the adjective I was trying to come out with. He just went up there, he knew he had that time, and he just, decided to speak about what's most important for him. I think it would have been more unexpected if he went up and he just said, I'd like to thank my family for being so supportive, or anything. And I only saw a snippet of this, so basically from what I read, he also quoted a phrase from his brother River, who passed away. I missed that when I watched the video, because what I saw were just like snippets from the whole thing. I haven't seen the whole award ceremony, but I would like to find some like footage of him actually saying that sentence, because losing his brother and such an important person is a huge thing. Okay. I keep on losing comments. Okay. Oh, because that's probably on my thing. I love the effort you put into translating both languages. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'll try to speak in English mostly because I know most of you, it's just the language most of you understand, but I know there's some people that follow me that only speak Italian, and they watch my videos because they are the Italian subtitles, or they are people who are trying to improve their English, but they're still not at the level of being able to fluently understand it without subtitles or anything. So if people comment in Italian, I'll try to give you both answers in Italian and English. Then there are some retracted messages. I love your live stream, you're fantastic. Oh, thank you so much. If you guys enjoy it, I'd love to do this more times in the future. Obviously with a better setup, everything a little more organized. I'll give you guys some information in advance that I'm doing it. I literally had to post everything at the last second online. What do you think about Ricky Gervais's speech on the Golden Globes about big actors, actresses lecturing life to common people? Oh, just reading that you didn't get the moving pun. Is it something, do you know, about veganism? I'm not I'm not the brightest mind here. I don't know, maybe it's because I didn't see the actual snippet of it. But what do you think about Ricky Gervais' speech on the Golden Globes about big actors, actresses lecturing life to common people? I don't know I can't remember the whole speech that he gave. Um, I like Ricky Gervais. I know he has said some things I don't agree with in the past. Even in some of his films, he sometimes says things that I think, okay, maybe that was a little too much. Maybe you could have like avoided saying that. But 99% of the time, I enjoy his comedy, and I've always thought of it as something rather deep. I was speaking about this in what I watched in January video. But I recently watched Afterlife, his series, and it's about a guy. He's the main character who loses his wife to cancer, and basically he becomes incredibly depressed, understandably, after this beautiful marriage he had with his wife, and he seriously contemplates the idea of committing suicide. But he can't. He still doesn't have, you know, it's not strength, but he still isn't fully committed to doing it. So what he does in the meanwhile to cope with life is basically act like an asshole. He will just answer back to people. He will be terribly rude because that makes him feel a little bit better about himself. You know, when you're really annoyed with a person and you just to, you know, get back to them, you'll say a mean thing, even if you don't really mean it, and then you feel bad about yourself. That's what he does basically for the whole film. So you think, okay, that's a pretty silly thing. It's just Ricky Gervais being like rude again. It's Ricky Gervais being like arrogant and being superior. I don't think the series was about that. It wasn't just about, you know, being rude and that's funny. There were a lot of moments in that series. If you haven't watched it, and I'd recommend, you know, giving it a try, because there were some moments I actually had to pause a series and think, wow, you know, that's something I've thought about and I didn't know somebody else would actually like put it into words. So I know that a lot of times when he says things that sorry, my glasses keep on sliding down. A lot of times when he says things which sound really offensive, and some of them are, but most of the times it's trying to convey. He's trying to convey something, if that makes any sense. That doesn't mean I agree with everything he said in the past. He's done some comedy about things which could have been avoided, and I'm very open in comedy. Especially like in Italy, comedy is a little different from, for example, over in the United States. I know, you know, Ricky Gervais is British, but for example, in Italy, we have a very open style of comedy. So making fun of everybody. I literally mean everybody, and hardly anybody really gets offended. Whereas in the United States, I've noticed when I used to live there, people would get offended much more easily. I'm not saying one is better than the other, it's just a different attitude towards comedy. For example, British comedy is even different. British comedy is like total dark humor. Italian comedy is more funny humor. I'm trying to make any sense of this. Anyway, all of this is to say that I can't pinpoint exactly that part about his speech. I know he said a lot of things just criticizing in general the elite of all these film awards. But if you have any more like specific reference, you leave a comment and then we can, you know, speak about that. Secondo te The Irishman è stato l'ultimo grande film di Scorsese? O credi che Killers of the Flower Moon con DiCaprio e De Niro potrà avere fortuna agli Oscar? Puoi anche rispondere in inglese. Okay, so I'm going to translate this in English because the person who left the comment said it's fine if you answer in English. And he's asking, do you think The Irishman is the last Scorsese's last big film, or do you think that Killers of the Flower Moon with DiCaprio and De Niro will have any luck at the Oscars? Usually Scorsese films tend to end up at the Oscars because he doesn't usually do bad films. It's a bit like Christopher Nolan. You know that in the worst scenario possible, he'll just do a mediocre film. The chances of him suddenly doing a terrible film are really slim because Scorsese has access to like humongous budgets, the best actors, in this case DiCaprio, De Niro. I didn't know De Niro was going to be in Killers of the Flower Moon. I knew about DiCaprio. So it will probably be at the Oscars. Whatever, any film with like Scorsese name on it will probably end up at the Oscars. That's just kind of how things work. Then he says, do you think The Irishman was Scorsese's last big film? I don't know, we'll have to see again with anything he makes in the future. The Irishman, though, was a huge film. You know, I don't know if you can make anything bigger than that in all sense, you know, in like cast and like the production of the whole film and the digital effects throughout the whole film and the story. That it was a big thing. I kind of think he wanted to not end his career, but you know what I mean. He's not 20 anymore. He doesn't have like another 50 years in front of him of filmmaking, so he's trying to do these big projects. I hope all of that made any sense. Are you able to see where your followers are from using data from YouTube? Yes. If you have a YouTube channel, basically you have access to so a YouTube studio, which shows you like behind the scenes of everything and all the analytics, and you can have, you know, look at the geography of where your followers are from, and you know what the watch time is, so what kind of videos they watch, how long they watch the videos from, and so on. And the main groups of people that follow me are the United States, Italy, India, United Kingdom, and then Germany. But I think because it's Italians who live in Germany, because a lot of Italians, you know, have moved to Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and so on. So my Italian videos mostly have Italy and then these other countries. But the big groups are United States, India, Italy, and United Kingdom. But one thing that once got me really excited is you can set this to have like, you know, a pie chart view, or you can have like a graph view, or you can get a whole map. It comes up as a whole map of the world, and you can go over it with a mouse across each country, and it will light up telling you, you know, details about the country. I think that then you can like go on the United States, and then it will tell you where people watch me inside the United States, because I know it's mostly like California and New York, New Jersey. But it was fun to actually like go across all these states in the world, and there were mostly people, at least like one person from even the smallest and most farthest away country from where I live. There was somebody who had like clicked on my video. Maybe then the view time was like 30 seconds of like one video, you know, when you kind of like click by accident on a video, like, nah, that's not what I was looking for, move away, like YouTube recommendations. But to see that people are following you from like all around the world, it's exciting. It's pretty exciting. Obviously, they're not some countries such as, you know, North Korea or China, where there's not access to YouTube. But mostly, I think from every other country, there are people that follow me. And the interesting thing is then to see, you can see like how long people watch you for. And my Indian followers are the ones who have the longest watch time. So they watch my videos for the longest. Whereas maybe another country might watch just a little snippet of it. It's interesting. It gives you a lot of like data. Then he talked a lot about is this lagging? It looked like it was lagging. I hope this is all working fine again. Blah, blah. He talked a lot about cows in his speech. Oh, okay. I see. This was from Phoenix's. Sorry, I stutter a lot. Joaquin Phoenix's speech. Oh, sorry. I hope this is not lagging. From Joaquin Phoenix's speech, I haven't seen all of it. That's the thing. I've only seen snippets of the whole awards ceremony. But yes, I can understand he probably did more references to veganism than the part of the speech that I heard. Debbie, non vorremmo più live in futuro, ne abbiamo bisogno. No, seriamente ci piacerebbe vedere più video, magari non solo sul cinema, ma anche su libri, serie che consigli. Traduco velocemente in inglese e poi ti rispondo. Debbie, we don't want more lives in the future. We need them. No, seriously, we'd love to see more videos, not only on cinema, but also on books and series. Ti ringrazio moltissimo. Spero appunto di fare più live in futuro, anche perché è più bello interagire con voi. Spero con un setting un pochettino più organizzato. E indubbiamente ultimamente ho iniziato a parlare di alcuni libri, come vedi ne ho un po' qua e non ne parlo molto spesso. E anche le serie. Un tempo parlavo di più di serie, Invece secondo me ultimamente ho parlato di più di film perché sto cercando di recuperare un sacco di cose che ho perso l'anno scorso praticamente. Io l'estate dell'anno scorso è stato un disastro per me, mi pare che a luglio ho visto tipo Stranger Things e forse qualcos'altro in generale, cioè tra film e serie. E quindi sto cercando di recuperare molto più velocemente e ne parlerò, e se vi piacciono le live le farò di sicuro. Traduco velocemente in inglese. So I'm going to translate the answer I gave from Senior Hawks, who said he would like to see more live videos and also more videos speaking about books and series. So I have been trying to speak more about books recently because I have quite a few. It's one of my biggest passions. And about series, I used to speak more about them in the past. And then I think I moved more onto films because I was trying to catch up with so much stuff. Mostly because last year, especially last summer, it was terrible for me. It was a film lover's hell. Basically, I didn't manage to see anything because I had such a backlog of stuff to catch up with, a ton of work, and I think July was the worst thing because I think the only project I watched was Stranger Things. Maybe something else. It was bad, so I'm trying to catch up with a lot of films, but I'm at a good point now, so probably I will start speaking about series again. I watched a couple this month. I've actually got everything written down in this book here because I'm trying to do what I watched in a month videos, so I'll be able to cover everything, and I am watching a few series. I watched one just a few days ago, I guess. I finished watching it, called The Stranger on Netflix, and it's one of those British series, like a close-knit community and then something bad happens, like a murder or an abduction or something like that. It's always something like that in those series. And then the truth comes out, and basically like your next door neighbor who's mowing the lawn is like a serial murderer, and like the priest is a killer, and it's all something like that. And it's one of these series. It wasn't as good, but it was okay, I guess. I'll speak about it better in my what I watched in a month video. But it's basically the story of this family who begins to be blackmailed by a woman who, just turns up with really private, confidential information, and she reveals it basically to people. So this family dad, he's just living his normal, regular life. One day this woman turns up and she says, "You know what? A few years back, your wife faked her pregnancy." And he was like, "What?" The meme of the guy that's just like, "What?" And then she goes and blackmails other people, and then they all turn out obviously to be connected to one another. So that's one of the series I'd like to speak about. Allora, che ne pensi di Parasite? Io l'ho trovato un capolavoro con attori eccezionali e una regia perfetta. Allora traduco velocemente la domanda e poi ti rispondo. So Jack Torrance is asking, by the way, I just noticed your username now. What do you think about Parasite? I thought it was wonderful, with exceptional actors and perfect directing. Is that how you translate that? Allora, a me è piaciuto tantissimo, veramente tantissimo. L'ho visto, non dico appena uscito, ma poco dopo. Quando l'ho visto era una giornata particolare, nel senso che era una giornata con un temporale. È presente quei temporali estivi enormi che fanno quasi paura, che fanno saltare la corrente? Quindi era una giornata abbastanza ansiosa, e ho visto questo film e mi sono ritrovata alla fine pensando: porca miseria, film del genere se ne vedono uno ogni morte di papa. È veramente un film rarissimo, un film bellissimo. Poi per un motivo o l'altro non ci ho mai fatto un video a riguardo, purtroppo, e poi pian piano si è sparsa la notizia del film, più che altro perché andando poi a questi premi cinematografici così importanti, il film si diffonde, sempre più gente ne ha parlato, e mi sono resa conto di quanto effettivamente abbia avuto un impatto così grande sulle persone, perché è un film veramente particolare, non ha neanche un genere specifico, perché puoi dire è un thriller, non è proprio un thriller, c'è anche un sacco di ironia, ma non è che è una commedia. A me è piaciuto veramente tantissimo. Traduco velocemente la risposta. So I was answering a person who asked what I thought about Parasite, and I was saying that I watched it on one of those days, one of those summer days when they're huge, like thunderstorms, which like the electricity cuts off and so on. So it was a very anxiety fueling day. So it was the best setting to watch the film. I know it probably was in the summer, because it can't have been, because that's when Parasite came out, more or less. It must have been like September, end of September or something like that, because here in Italy it's still summer around that time. So I watched it, and when I finished watching it, I realized that is a film that you only see, like, I would say nearly once in a lifetime. That's just such a great film, and you can't even really define. You can't say it's like a thriller, because it's not totally a thriller. It has a lot of irony, but still, it's not. Oh, I hope I didn't knock everything over. But it's still not like a comedy. It was interesting, and then as the film got pushed to a wider audience, obviously thanks to all these film awards, which were showing push films to more and more people. I realized what a huge impact it was having on people, how much people were enjoying it. So yes, I enjoyed it, and I'm pleased, and I'm so pleased it finally made it to the Oscars. Grazie mille per la risposta, prego. So cool, that might be somebody I already replied to. Once Upon a Time faleva su tanti elementi che vanno oltre il film in sé, storici, culturali, cinematografici. Quindi è un film che non arriverà mai ad alcune persone, mentre ad altri colpisce al cuore. Beh, allora traduco velocemente in inglese. So Year Zero is saying Once Upon a Time in Hollywood it uses a lot of elements that go beyond the film itself, so like historical elements, cultural elements, like film wise elements. So it's not a film that some people will get, while others will, it will have a big impact on others. I'm going to answer quickly in Italian. Allora, sono d'accordo, nel senso che non mi ricordo che esempio, qualcuno mi ha fatto un commento del genere sotto forse era il video di Zodiac, era un riferimento al film di Zodiac. Praticamente il film di Zodiac è bellissimo, parla di un killer reale che era in California negli anni, non vorrei dire una cavolata, ma 70? E praticamente, vedendo questo film senza sapere nulla di questo killer, il film viene visto comunque, è un bel film, ma non si notano tantissime cose. Io ad esempio avevo letto un sacco su Zodiac, mi ero informata molto, e quando ho visto il film ho notato tanti piccoli riferimenti che non avrei colto altrimenti, e sono sicura che Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sia la stessa cosa. Stavo guardando il video di Karsten Runquist, è un ragazzo che seguo su YouTube che fa recensioni, che proprio mi pare oggi o comunque in questi giorni ha pubblicato un video in cui diceva di aver riguardato Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, questa volta a Los Angeles, perché penso si sia spostato a Los Angeles, e lui diceva vedere il film lì a Los Angeles, dopo essersi traslocato lì, dopo aver vissuto lì, aver respirato quell'ambiente, quell'aria, insomma l'ambiente, l'ha visto sotto una prospettiva completamente diversa. In generale il film comunque voglio riguardarlo tra almeno un anno, non perché voglio aspettare almeno un anno, ma tra un tot di tempo, per vedere come sarà la mia reazione. Rispondo velocemente in inglese così che tutti possono capire. So I was answering for the follower who said that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood goes beyond the film in itself, but it has a lot of references to historical facts, cultural facts, and so on. So it will have a big impact on some people, while on others it might not have the same. And I said I agree with this, and I was doing the example of the film Zodiac. So the film Zodiac is based on a real life killer who acted, I don't want to say something silly, but in the 70s, and if you watch the film Zodiac, it's fantastic, you enjoy it anyway, but if you have read a lot about the Zodiac upon watching the film, you notice a lot of details you wouldn't have otherwise, and you enjoy it so much more. So in any case, I want to rewatch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood after a certain amount of time to see if my review of it is the same, if my opinion on it has changed, and so on. It might, depend from the mindset and everything. Allora, questo setting per le live è ottimo, anche la qualità audio e video è più che buona. Traduco velocemente. So this setting is for live streaming is great. Even the I can't translating so quickly. My language has gone off. But the audio video quality is really good. E ti ringrazio perché in verità è tutto stato allestito abbastanza sul momento. Infatti spero, sono senza microfono così alla nature, però spero che nel futuro di riuscire a sistemare tutto quanto, però mi fa molto piacere. Anche perché mi fa piacere vedere che un sacco di voi mi state scrivendo e non me lo aspettavo, mi aspettavo di essere tipo io qua nell'angolino con tipo un paio di persone che mi stavano seguendo, e invece mi fa molto, molto piacere. E traduco un attimo in inglese. So I was replying to Maze Waxy, who was appreciating. He was saying, I like the setting of the video, also like of this live video, also the audio video quality is good. I said, I'm so happy because in reality it's all kind of set up at the last moment and without a microphone and just like this. But it, you know, I'd like to do more in future with maybe everything a little more set up, and also appreciate the fact that so many of you have been following. I really wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to be just like me in the corner with like one person following, but I'm so pleased that so many of you joined. Then Jonathan Marshall said, I was hoping Knives Out would win something. I love the movie. I was kind of hoping that Knives Out would have won for Best Original Screenplay. Or, you know, because it was a really good film. So Knives Out, for those who haven't seen it, if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. It's lovely. It's an old school story of a murder in this very big mansion. Everybody in that mansion seems to have a reason for committing the murder. And so a private detective is hired. This is Daniel Craig. With a very thick accent. He's a very particular character. He is brought in to investigate what actually went on in the household, and the story starts off as like, okay, it's complicated, but I can figure it out, and then things just keep on happening. This is just snowballing, and it's such an inventive story for being just the usual mansion, person dead, we got to figure out who did it. I thought it was very creative, and I was expecting it to win, you know, something more, but I guess it went. Oh, and I'm pleased in the end that it went to Jojo Rabbit as Jojo Rabbit was adapted screenplay, but Parasite won. Let me check. Yeah, I don't want to say anything wrong. Yeah, Parasite won for Best Original Screenplay, which was great. Sempre su Once Upon, hai ragione, infatti quando dici che potresti vederlo e cambiare opinione, non è un film immediato. Esatto. So the person I was speaking about, the person who commented about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, was saying, yeah, it's, if you rewatch the film, you could maybe change your mind about it because it's not an immediate film, which is true. Hai visto BoJack Horseman? Scusa per l'off topic, ma mi piacerebbe sapere cosa ne pensi. Come prima rispondi tranquillamente in inglese. Okay, so I'm just going to translate and answer this in English because the commenter said it's fine also in English. Have you ever seen BoJack Horseman? Sorry for being for going off topic. It's fine about off topics. If you want to chat about anything, even not the Oscars, that's absolutely fine. But I'd love to see, love to know what you think about it. As before, you can, answer in English. I haven't seen BoJack Horseman. I know a lot of you enjoyed it. I'm if I'm not mistaken, the whole series finished, or is finishing now. I know they're at the last season, but I don't know. I've seen snippets of it because when I've had to do editorials for other channels, you know, making videos or so on, I've had to go through trailers and clips of it to, you know, to make videos, and so I've seen bits trailers and so on, and it didn't seem like something totally different from what I would enjoy watching. I don't know why I never got into it. It's a bit like how I never got into Rick and Morty. I'm sure a lot of you out there will be like, no, you've got to see Rick and Morty, it's totally your thing. And I don't know, I guess if you don't get into something quite soon, then you end up with a backlog of 5 or 6 seasons. You're like, oh, I don't know if I have time to catch up with all of that. I kind of feel out in the environment. But BoJack Horseman, because recently I had to make those editorial clips and use part from from the series. That's why I kind of got interested into it. Parasite is the best film I've seen last year. It is. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying yes, it is. But it is one of the best films of the year, absolutely. I think it's one of those films. I was speaking about this earlier with my boyfriend, and he was saying, how sometimes some films are the kind of a film is good if you're still thinking about it years later. And then again, Carsten Ronquist, he was the guy with the YouTube channel, was saying, there are some films that have won last year at the Oscars and I've already forgotten about them. I'm sure that I won't be forgetting about Parasite very soon. This is the kind of film you will keep thinking about, or at least you won't keep thinking about it, but if say in 10 years time one would say, oh, what are some of the best films ever, you wouldn't say Ford versus Ferrari, probably. You might have absolutely enjoyed it, but you'll probably say, Parasite, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, if it was your things. That's the kind of film that really sticks. Debbie rocks. Thank you. Agree. That's probably an answer from something agreed. Sorry, something I answered. Io sono rimasto molto favorevolmente sorpreso in positivo del film di Tarantino. Mi è piaciuto molto, l'ho trovato più dedicato e senza gli eccessi che a volte in Tarantino mi hanno dato noia. Allora, traduco un attimo in inglese. I was positively surprised from Tarantino's film. I liked it a lot. I found it delicate and without the excesses that sometimes bore you with the Tarantino films. I'm going to quickly answer in Italian and in English. Capisco cosa intendi di Tarantino, nel senso che a volte i suoi film diventano un po' troppo sangue, dialogo lunghissimo e ancora sangue. Per riassumere, capisco quello che intendi, che a volte ci sono degli elementi che potrebbero annoiare. A me purtroppo Once Upon a Time in Hollywood non è piaciuto così tanto e anzi mi è sembrato che in alcuni tratti ci fosse un po' troppo... Questo è un film di Tarantino, avete visto? Ci sono riferimenti agli altri film, ci sono nomi collegati agli altri film, ma questa è solo una mia opinione, non so che a tantissimi altri è piaciuto, alcuni l'hanno reputato uno dei migliori film di Tarantino finora, quando io ad esempio ho adorato Bastardi senza gloria, Django, quindi penso che vada ad opinioni e comunque lo voglio rivedere nel futuro. Traduco la tua risposta un attimo in inglese. Allora, about Tarantino, sorry, it's translating quickly from Italian to English, my brain kind of fuses. So Stefano was saying about how he enjoyed Tarantino's film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood so much, and how he felt it didn't have any of the excessive Tarantino-ness that some of his other films have, and which kind of bore you. And although I like a lot of Tarantino films, I can see what he means here, which is probably like you're going to expect blood, huge dialogues, more blood, more huge dialogues. Whereas he says in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, there wasn't all of that. As you've heard, I've said this a lot of times, I didn't really like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I think, on the contrary, it kind of had a lot of elements which were like, how do you say, this is a Tarantino film. Did you realize it's a Tarantino film? Didn't you see the references to the other films? Did you see there were the same names, the feet? You know what I mean, that kind of thing. I kind of felt that. But again, I'm going to have to watch this again in the future to have a different opinion on it. Davide Fois, buonasera. Buonasera a te, Davide. Ciao, benvenuto. Se vuoi farci sapere la tua opinione sugli Oscar o su tutto in generale, sei il benvenuto. Rose Channel, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood just doesn't have the things I look for when I see a film. I also think the directing is extremely... I don't know how to pronounce this word. That word. Meandering? Sorry about that. You probably then saw the film how I saw it. I just watched it and I was like, this is... I don't know. With Parasite, it immediately clicked. It got me caught into it. Even Marriage Story, which is Marriage Story. That's a great example. Marriage Story is extremely simple compared to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's two guys who are divorcing. That's it. There's nothing more. There are no incredible plots. It's these two guys fighting over their failing love story. But I enjoyed it more because I immediately got dragged into the story of these characters. We didn't know them 20 minutes earlier, and now we're thinking about Adam Driver crying on the floor and punching the wall, and poor him, and poor Scarlett Johansson, she's crying her eyes out, we're crying our eyes out. Whereas in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it was, what I felt was sort of, look at this, it's a Tarantino film, so you're going to like it because it's a Tarantino film, and you can't say you don't like it because it's a Tarantino film, and it's got these huge actors in it, and then it's just Brad Pitt driving from one place to another, just doing things, and I don't know, it was lacking something very big, in my opinion. Ti consiglio BoJack perché sembra una sitcom stile Simpson Griffin, ma è veramente molto profondo, tratta tematiche molto serie in maniera disarmante. I'm going to answer in English because this user already said before it's fine to answer in English, and he's saying, I recommend BoJack because it looks like a sitcom in like a Simpsons Griffin style, but it's really deep, and it has it covers themes in a very, I don't know how to say this word, but I guess it means like unexpected. That's maybe what he's trying to convey, unexpected manner. That's exactly what I felt when I was going through trailers and material for a video I was making. From the outside, if you just see like the imagery, it does look like a Simpsons or Griffin, you know, funny kind of cartoon, but then it goes suddenly deeper. So even in a stupid way, but not stupid the series, but how I've discovered this series was, for example, through like memes on Instagram. That's a silly way, but you know, and all the memes that are coming up are these characters saying things which look so unexpectedly deep from the image you're looking at. If you see what I mean, that these animals doing things, but they're talking about being like depressed or like drinking and so on. So that's probably what got me so curious about it. You have a boyfriend, Dan? He's a very lucky guy. I do. You might have seen him in Simone. You might have seen him in our vlogs. They're probably like the funniest videos we have on the channel, like various adventures in America. And he is here on YouTube if you want to listen to his music. If you want to, you can go follow from like, his name is Simone Moncada. You can find him through my channel, or if you want to write directly his name on Instagram or here on YouTube, and you can find his music. He's absolutely great at doing that. I need to check out Parasite. I haven't seen it yet. Go watch it. It's wonderful. I think that usually a person has like a favorite genre or a style of film. I think this Parasite is open to different things. The other, you know, different, I'm trying to get the right words, different to different people's expectations or different tastes. That's what I'm trying to say. For example, I was trying to think if Parasite has any flaws, because every film has flaws, and I was trying to go over it, and I was thinking, you know, the characters, they're fine, the writing is fine, what is their flaw? And the only thing, now I want to know if any of you felt this, in Parasite there are some scenes in which phones are used heavily. You know, it's the kind of scenes in which the camera is just focusing on the phone doing something, and I kind of felt that was a little, I don't know, out of place. Like, it wasn't necessary. For example, there's one scene in which the camera is filming the phone, which is filming something else, but it's done like in slow motion, so you can see this really cool effect. It's in the trailer too. It's the scene in which white water is being poured, and so on the phone you can see like a slow-mo of the water being poured. And so this and what I'm trying to say is that kind of looked like an advert, like a promotion, a spot. It's I don't know if it's real, because I can't even remember what make the phones were, so I don't know if that had any effect. It's not like when you see some other films and you're like, okay, advertisement for like Sony phones or Samsung phones or whatever, you can really notice it. Or it's like Coca-Cola and Stranger Things, you're like, okay, I can see this is just an obvious advert. In Parasite, it didn't feel like that. I mean, it did feel like it, but it didn't then have the final effect. So I don't know if it was just a flaw in the film, it's not really a flaw, but if you see what I mean, or if it was actually meant to be a product placement, is that the correct word for this brand of phones, which I don't really remember. But that scene, I can understand, the characters doing various things on their phones because it's like a very technological environment. But that one scene in which, because they live in the base, this poor family, Parasite, if you haven't seen it, it's a rich family and a poor family, and the poor family does everything impossible to start infiltrating that rich family. So this poor family is living in a basement in very poor conditions, very, very poor conditions. And they are so underground that their only view of the street is this one tiny window, which is basically on street level, so feet level. And one time a guy is kind of throwing water on another guy, and they film it, or at least they take the camera out, and it's focusing on that slow-mo water, and that was a bit like, I don't know. Anyway, see Parasite. Go watch Parasite if you haven't seen it yet. Do you prefer Tarantino or Scorsese as a director? I personally love both of them, but I prefer Scorsese. If I had to just give straightforward answer like that, I would say Scorsese. I love his films much more than Tarantino. I don't know. I think there's a bit this feeling that you can't ever say that you don't like a Tarantino film, because if you do, you don't understand films. I've had people say that to me. When I say, yeah, I guess I like his films, but they're not my cup of tea or something like that. People be like, oh, you can't say that. Pulp Fiction is the perfect example. Pulp Fiction is one of the films I like least with Tarantino. I love Inglourious Bastards. I love Django Unchained. I love Kill Bill. But Pulp Fiction, I don't know why. It's fine. I just don't enjoy it as much. Whereas for a lot of people, it's like one of the best films of all time. And if you haven't seen it, you just don't understand cinema, or so on and so forth. Scorsese said, I don't think there's the same thing. I think you can kind of say, yeah, I don't really enjoy that film. But I do like his films more. I think it's because he covers genres I like. So like these huge dramas, these stories of a lifetime. And also there is a lot of like the Italian heritage element. I'm Italian, half Italian. I live in Italy. So it's fun to see a lot of, Italian elements in his films. So yes, I would say Scorsese out of, if I had to compare just like that. Where can I watch Parasite at? Oh, you can see it on demand. È stato un piacere guardare questa live, ci sarò anche nelle prossime. Grazie mille, buona serata, grazie per essere stato con noi e per averci fatto tutte queste domande. So Maze Waxy is leaving now. He's thanking us, and he'll say he'll be in the next ones. So guys, you two make sure to be here if there will be any future lives. I will try to warn you in advance if I'm ever live streaming again. Oh yeah, on demand, like Infinity YouTube. Somebody's asking where they can watch Parasite. Cinemas worldwide will probably be showing Parasite more now that it won the Oscars. Cinemas tend to do that because a lot of people will pick what to watch depending on what won at the Oscars. I know like local cinemas here in Italy have been showing all the Oscar nominees this last week because they know there was more talk about them. This is how a lot of films actually get promoted. I know that a lot of people would never have seen Parasite if it hadn't gone to the Oscars. I know it probably would have had more, more success than other films, but I don't think the same amount of interest would have been, there would have been the same amount of interest towards it if it hadn't been at the Oscars. So check at your cinema, if at your local cinemas, worldwide, if they're showing Parasite, because chances are, as it won all these Oscars and news stations are talking about it, the internet is all about it, they're going to want to cash in, so you might be able to go see it at the cinema. Otherwise, yeah, people are saying you can see it on demand on Infinity YouTube. I thought Parasite was like an alien movie. No, it is. If you haven't seen the film, if that's what you were thinking about, no. I know the title might sound like something a bit like that, but it isn't. The only nitpick I had with Parasite was I wanted more closure with the rich family. Yeah, Parasite kind of focuses. I was saying it's this very poor family, rich family. Poor family tries to infiltrate the rich family, but I'm using these very simple terms, rich and poor, to explain everything easier. And the film focuses like most of the time on the poor family and not so much on the rich family. That's probably why we didn't have so many details on them. It was mostly about the poorer family who were like the bigger characters. Great film, Parasite, very mystical. It was an absolutely fantastic film. Di Scorsese conosco solo The Departed. So Don is saying he for now he only knows about The Departed, but there I'm going to answer in Italian because he's asking the question in Italian. Di Scorsese, soprattutto se sei italiano, se stai commentando in italiano, ci sono tantissimi film che ti piaceranno. Già The Departed si basa più su persone di origine irlandese, quindi a Boston, ma guardati la filmografia online, quindi la lista di film che ha fatto Scorsese online, e troverai un sacco di elementi basati su persone immigrate in America, persone italiane immigrate in America, quindi c'è un sacco sul retaggio culturale italiano perché Scorsese, appunto essendo italiano, ha portato sui grandi schermi, e penso che ci sia molto che ti piacerà. Traduco un attimo in inglese. So for Italians who are saying saying they don't know Scorsese's films so much, I'm saying there's a ton of stuff you'll enjoy out there. For example, The Departed is like mostly based on people of Irish ancestry, but a lot of Scorsese films are based on Italians who moved to the United States and all like the cultural heritage and everything they brought, and a lot of very typical things about our culture. So it's very interesting to see for Italians. I'm going to see Parasite. I trust your judgment. You always have good taste in movies. Oh, Manuel is leaving. Oh, Manuel, thank you so much for everything. I truly appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the live stream, and I hope to see you soon in the next one. Thanks again for everything. Jonathan was saying, I'm going to see Parasite. I trust your judgment. You always have good taste in movies. Thank you so much. Actually, a lot of the films I watch are based on recommendations you guys gave me. But yes, I would highly recommend watching Parasite. It's open. It's very open. That I'm just going to say that. Pensi che a livello di qualità ci sia una differenza sostanziale fra i Prime Original, le produzioni Netflix, le serie di YouTube Red, eccetera? Penso che vada bene se rispondo in inglese, perché mi sa che ti avevo risposto in inglese prima. I'm going to answer in English because I think for this user was fine before if I was replying in English. And he's asking, do you think there is a difference, a big difference between like original, I don't know if you mean if there's a difference between like Netflix, YouTube series, and Prime series, or if there's a difference between all these like online works and you know, I don't know how to say it, but like actual films, not made for online streaming films. So between like YouTube, I don't watch much on YouTube. Actually, I don't watch anything on YouTube Red, which is like YouTube's streaming service. I don't know if there's that much to watch on there. I think when I got to know it, it was when like Logan Paul or Jake Paul were making series on there, and I kind of was a bit put off from then. But I know somebody once commented about Cobra Kai that was on YouTube, but I don't have a subscription service to that, so I don't know. I watch a lot on Netflix. I watch a ton of stuff on Netflix, and I always think it's quite good quality. You can kind of tell when something is on Netflix and it's just like a bad Netflix film. It's usually like the Christmas films that you can tell immediately from the trailer and everything. But a lot of like made for Netflix films are great. Amazon Prime, Prime Video. I've had Amazon Prime for a while, so I could. It's the same user commenting. I'm confirming it was him that said about Cobra Kai. So, so when I first, I've had Amazon Prime for a long time, but I never actually, again, participation by special appearance by other people in the house. When I first, so I've had Amazon Prime for years, and when I first got it, I didn't use Prime Video because there wasn't that much on it. I'm going to be honest, there wasn't basically anything interesting on it. Every time we'd say, you know what, let's try and see if there's something on Amazon Prime, and there just wasn't. And we'd always end up back on Netflix or renting films on YouTube, or from any other place. But now I've been watching more and more stuff on Amazon Prime because it looks like they've been adding a lot to their catalogue. Like every time I log on, there's just more and more stuff. I think they're starting to realise that they either step up the game, or people are just always going to choose Netflix. There are also a few documentaries. I think last week or 2 weeks ago, I watched, about a week ago, I watched a documentary called One Child Nation, and it's wonderful. It's a documentary about the one-child policy in China, which was basically a policy that went on for 50 or 60 years, by which families only had to have one child. And what most of us, I think, knew was that if they had another child, this is from a Westerner's point of view of what it was just, shown to us, generally, or what we mostly knew was, if these families had another child, it wasn't such a big issue, but they wouldn't have much of help, like welfare help, or they would they would suffer a bit be a bit, the stigma in society, but it wasn't such a huge deal. Instead, this series basically is this Chinese person who goes back to China and interviews everybody who was involved in that process. So the people who did the propaganda about the one-child policy, the people who, the nurses who dealt with this, and so on. And it turns out it was not what we all thought. It's something that was life-changing in all senses. So basically people were being bombarded from kindergarten until older years with these songs and propaganda about you have to have one child. If you have more than one child, you're a traitor to the nation, and blah blah blah. And also it was about how many abortions were carried out, and not only that, it was like the psychological aspect of it, of being forced into only having this one child, and then all the corruption about surrounding people who saw a way to make money into that. I'm not going to say more because although it is actual facts that happened, it's presented as a film, documentary, so you might be interested in seeing it. And this was not on Netflix. I was saying this was on Amazon Prime. This stuff wasn't there a while ago. Then we know there was still films and everything, but it was always, let's try to see if there's something different on Amazon Prime. There wasn't. You just scroll through the usual films and then end up back on Netflix. There would always be Top Gear, I don't know, Star Trek, and nothing more. But now they've definitely been up in their game. But that's the only big difference I can see between, obviously on Netflix there's much more. I also think that Netflix is a little easier to use when you go in it. I always think that Amazon Prime it's because it's from Amazon. It wasn't born as Netflix. It's an Amazon product, if you see what I mean. Anyway, moving on. Su Witcher invece alla fine. Oh, I hope I'm not lagging much because I see that I am still here. I'm going to have to check. This is C. Very professional, as you see. We do things professionally. Anyway, I think I'm going to have to start wrapping this up because the camera is starting to fail a little. So I'm going to answer yeah, there I am. Now I can see myself fixing the camera. Very profesh. But I'm going to answer the last questions and then wrap it up. And whenever you like, we can do other live streams. I always had a bit of anxiety about doing these. In fact, when I started, I was sort of just sitting here like a librarian. a bit nervously, if that's what I mean. But I'm going to answer the last question. I think there's a question about The Witcher. Su The Witcher invece alla fine non ti è sembrato troppo confuso ogni tanto con quei flashback per il figlio, anche se avendo letto qualche libro, giocato il gioco, bene o male sapevo già. I'm going to translate it, and it says, on the about The Witcher, do you think it was too confusing? Because there were a lot of flashbacks and I was losing track, even if I had read the book and had played the game. So I'm going to answer quickly in Italian because I know this user, I think, prefers Italian. And he's asking about, he's asking about The Witcher. Allora, su The Witcher l'ho iniziato, ma sto facendo cadere tutto, l'ho iniziato ma l'ho abbandonato subito, non perché non mi piacesse, ma semplicemente perché non lo so in verità il perché, non sono più andata avanti e poi l'ho lasciato lì, un po' sai quando si inizia una serie e poi la lasci lì. Forse era perché quando è uscito The Witcher io pensavo, nella mia ignoranza non sapevo che fosse una cosa così grande, pensavo fosse semplicemente una serie TV nuova. Poi invece sono passata su Facebook, avete presente la pagina Orgoglio Nerd, così stava pubblicando queste foto di gente super appassionata che aveva tutte le statuette dei personaggi, i libri, eccetera. Stava pubblicando queste foto di loro con il computer e tutto attorno e ho detto, ah, cavolo, io non so niente su The Witcher, e tutti i commenti, tutti ne sapevano qualcosa, e forse era quello che mi ha fatto pensare un attimo, forse per ora lo metto in disparte, e poi stupidamente l'ho sempre lasciato in disparte, quindi purtroppo non riesco a risponderti molto su questa domanda. La traduco comunque in inglese e dico solo una cosa: se la live si dovesse fermare improvvisamente è perché si freezerà di nuovo qui davanti, quindi cerco di stringere, ma se mi vedete scomparire improvvisamente è per quello. Non so se riesco a mettere una batteria o un qualcosa, ma la prossima volta ci adatteremo meglio. Intanto provo a mettere questo, cerchiamo di salvare il salvabile senza far cadere tutto quanto. E rispondo un attimo in inglese. And also just wanted to say, I'm translating the question in English, but I want to say, if this live stream suddenly finishes, it's not because I'm logging off with no warning, but because the camera started to fail, and I'm going to plug you in here with this for now. Hopefully that should save something. Yeah, it looks like it's saving it a little bit for now, but if it should suddenly log off, it's for that reason. And so the user was asking me about, the user that wrote the comment was asking me about The Witcher, and I didn't actually, he was asking whether The Witcher if I'd found The Witcher very confusing, because he felt he or she was a bit lost with all like the flashbacks and so on, the timeline, even though he or she had read the books, played the games, and so on. So The Witcher, I can't really answer that, because I started watching The Witcher and then I kind of left it. I started watching it and then I stupidly just left it there because I think it was peer pressure. Because I only thought The Witcher was just a random new TV series. And then I started watching it and I went on... let me fix this so you don't have to look at my like greasy door while I'm doing this. Is there any way of fixing it? Hopefully. I don't know, that it's kind of lagging. Very profesh again. Anyway, The Witcher. So I started watching and I thought it was just a new random TV series. And then after watching the first episode, not even barely the first episode, I was on Facebook and there's a page that's called Orgoglio Nerd, so Nerd Pride, it would be translated in English, which was sharing all these pictures of viewers of The Witcher, who had made these setups around the computer with the books and like the little figures from the franchise and so on. And I think I felt peer pressure thinking, oh, I don't know anything about this series. Maybe I should just leave it there. Stupidly, that's a stupid reaction that I had. But then in the end, I just set it aside and never picked it up again. But I am pretty sure that sooner or later I will pick it up, because if I don't, it'll end up kind of like Game of Thrones, which you'll know I never really watched. I watched like 1 or 2 episodes of it. So I'm going to try and close this. So Another question in Italian, but he says I can answer in English. So it's: evidentemente sei un'appassionata fruitrice di cinema, oltre a questo hai studiato cinema o lettera all'università, se no hai letto manuali di cinema o saggi, rispondi pure in inglese. So the question is, you are, I can see that you're passionate about cinema. Beyond this, have you ever studied cinema or lettera? Oh, how do you translate that in English? I'm not sure, but it's not languages, literature, is it? At uni, if not, have you read manuals about cinema or books in general? I haven't studied cinema at university. This is just a pure passion of mine. That is why I obviously often say things that make absolutely no sense, or things that are maybe based a little too much on my own personal opinion, but I always try to say that before anything I say. I have read a lot of books, yes, about cinema, especially about, Christopher Nolan, things, I love in particular. No, everything I've always studied has been about languages. I've done a school, in Italian it's liceo linguistico, and in English it's just a high school which is basically focusing on languages. I did go to uni, didn't finish it, but that was still languages, so nothing to do with cinema. Okay, there are quite a few people logging off because we're trying to wrap this up before the camera totally melts. I hope you have a wonderful week, Debbie. I've got to go soon. Thank you so much for joining. Yes, hopefully to see you soon under videos, under another live stream. Debbie, please continue these. Finishing question: what was your overall thoughts on Motherless Brooklyn? I've never seen it, although I've been on the set of Motherless Brooklyn. When I was in New York, I was staying I used to stay in New Jersey, but I was staying for a week around in Brooklyn. And one day we walked out of our house in Brooklyn, and literally on our street they were filming Motherless Brooklyn by Edward Norton. I did meet Edward Norton, so I saw him in the morning. We were going to get the subway. I saw him there, made a beeline to go and say hi to him, but I was blocked by security guards who were like, no, you can't take any, you can't stop and say hello to him. So I was like, okay, fine. We went away whole day. I had actually completely forgotten about that. When we got back, I saw him again, and they'd finished filming, or at least they were they were doing a break between filming. So I went over to him and I begged him basically to have a photo, and he said no. So I thanked him, and I in general, I was saying something, oh my goodness, Mr. Norton, thank you so much for everything you've done for cinema. And I was shaking his hand, and he was like, okay, yeah, I guess this guy is crazy. I was like, thank you so much. But yes, so I was on set, but I haven't seen the film yet. But I am curious about it. I think I was a bit put off by some reviews that were saying, actually, you know why? Because The Irishman came out, and then Motherless Brooklyn came out the week after or something, and a lot of reviewers were saying, oh, it's another huge film, and I'd just been out for 3 hours and a half of The Irishman, and then I missed the cinema slot when it was out in cinemas, so I would have to see it on demand now, but I never get around to do it. So everybody's logging off, so I'll log off soon. Debbie's live, written and directed by Christopher Nolan. Yes, it kind of feels like it. Let's pretend that all of this set up and me plugging things in and moving is cinematic artistry. That's actually a name of a page on Instagram. That's kind of the feeling. Grazie per tutti I consigli, Debbie. Alla prossima live. Ciao. See you and have a great week. All bye bye. Bye, Debbie. So glad to spend time with you. Thank you all, guys. Thank you so much for being so supportive. I wasn't imagining half of the people to join me today. I'm so pleased that all of you came around and you supported me, even though this is furthest away from professional as you can get. But yes, thank you so much for being so supportive. Now I'll have to do the embarrassing thing of grabbing the camera and it'll be shaking and me trying to press stop and turn around to 5 chins and so on. But yeah, if you're watching this after the live stream, you can leave comments down below, and if you want to be part of this community, that sounds so cliche, but if you want to be part of it, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you soon, guys. Bye.